Welcome to Urban U. I'm Abby Ashola.
And I'm Ari Goldberg. As always, we're gonna have stories for you from across colleges of the entire CUNY school system. And this month, we're here from York College.
We'll learn more about a study done on New York accents led by CUNY linguists and introduce you to a CUNY hero.
But first, for as great as we pump up CUNY as being, and it most certainly is, one thing CUNY's not exactly known for is being a national sports powerhouse. But with the NCAA basketball tournament going on in March, for this month's For the Record, I wanted to share with you a story, a crazy story, about City College's history with college basketball. It is March Madness. North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, City College. As silly as it sounds, there was a time when City College was the dominant force in college basketball. And then it all fell apart. In 1950, Coach Nat Holman, now in the Basketball Hall of Fame, had a winner. Having a much more diverse team than many of the more segregated colleges of the day, the Beavers' starting lineup, featuring 2 black players and 3 Jewish players, steamrolled their way to the championship of both the NIT tournament and the NCAA tournament, along the way beating the likes of Boston College, Princeton, Kentucky, and Ohio State.
The Beavers won the National Invitation Tournament, the National Collegiate, to hit a jackpot unprecedented in basketball.
Nowadays, teams aren't even allowed to compete in both tournaments. So as it stands, the 1950 CCNY Beavers go down in history as the only team to win both titles in the same season. The grand slam of college basketball. But the glory was short-lived. It turns out that magical season was beset by gambling, bribes, and the mafia. And not just for City College. Mobsters had been bribing college players, not to lose games necessarily, but to win by less than the bookmakers predicted. And then the gamblers could bet on this more of a sure thing outcome. This scheme is called point shaving, and to this day, the scandal is still widely remembered in popular culture.
He passed during the night.
What a blow.
He was a great man. My cousin told me it was Carmine who invented point shaving.
CCNY versus Kentucky, 1951. Nobody beat the spread. I bought a black Fleetwood.
And after a police sting the next year, all the dominoes started to fall. When the dust settled, 8 gamblers and fixers and 32 players from 7 colleges were arrested. City College actually didn't even have the most players involved, but as the darlings of the basketball world, their fall was certainly the hardest. In the aftermath, CCNY as a whole de-emphasized athletics and then dropped down to Division III, where we find ourselves today. It's a complicated legacy, that 1950 team. After all, the players weren't losing games on purpose, and certainly all the recruiting scandals and talk of player compensation in college sports today can often seem just as troublesome. Indeed, for all the drama, the 1950 champion team still holds a special place in the hearts of fans. And now, looking back on its 70th anniversary, the last surviving member of the team, Floyd Lane, was honored with a standing ovation during this season's basketball tip-off banquet.
Thank you all very much.
For the record, I'm Ari Goldberg.
Ryan Black is an assistant professor at Queens College who lives in Queens and who grew up in Queens. So it's no wonder he decided to write a book of poems dedicated to the borough. But this book, titled The Tenant of Fire, is no ordinary love letter to one's hometown.
The still eyes of Malcolm X, stilled by an f-stop and shutter. Winter 1965. Malcolm is leaving a car, gelatin silver print, portrait of a tenant of fire. So the poem that I wrote about Malcolm X is called Hawkman. It's a poem about visiting Malcolm X's house when I was 12 as a child and being leery of that and being nervous and confused and not understanding. It was summer. A shy kid, I can go days without lifting my eyes. And then returning as an adult with a much different point of view and with great respect and admiration and a recognition of the importance of this man and of this place.
This place, 2311 97th Street, East Elmhurst, Queens. Once the home of Malcolm X, the same home that was firebombed by unidentified attackers in 1965 as he and his family slept inside. It's an important moment in history, still somewhat preserved right here in Queens.
My name is Ryan Black. I am an assistant professor at Queens College and the author of The Tenant of Fire. The Tenant of Fire, that title is from the poem about Malcolm X, in which I call Malcolm X the Tenant of Fire. But it's really a book about Queens and a book about representations of Queens and a book about the history of the place. Things like the story of Malcolm X living there, or the story of the 64-65 World's Fair that my mother worked at when she was a teenager.
With gentrification snowballing rapidly through the city, Black says his poems interrogate how culture is consumed by the masses.
I see two dominant representations of the borough. One is a dismissal of it as a working class cultural wasteland, and then the other is a fetishized place of remarkable diversity. Places like the New York Times, they'll have their restaurant review for Nepalese restaurant, and it's always sold as, here's the authentic food. Come eat, authentic Korean, authentic Chinese. That's the commodification of cultural diversity that often becomes the way we talk about diversity, rather than, what is the lived experience of it, and, what is the history of it.
Queens history is one of sheer irony, considering how the borough was planned in the 19th century.
Queens was looked at as a place, particularly in the 19th century, to get away from immigration in Manhattan. It was really designed to be this exclusionary paradise for white Christians. So its cultural diversity is a historic accident.
And diverse it is. According to Axios.com, Queens is the most populous, diverse county in the country, scoring over 70% in diversity. Black, who grew up in Woodside, Queens, formed an understanding of how certain systems exist that don't always work in favor of everyone.
So I grew up in New York playing basketball, and playing basketball at a pretty high level. And basketball in New York City, it's a Black world. So I was othered in that world, and I had the experience of being an other, but it was a safe experience. The political party in power right now is a party of white supremacy, and it's led by a man from Queens. And to be white in a place that has so many others, so many people who have been othered, is a very complicated and important position to actually interrogate, rather than to consume culture. I'll never understand the experience of being an African American the same way that I will never understand Malcolm X. It's always going to be unknowable. But what I can do is think about my position in that, my understanding of my own whiteness as a racialized category that was constructed in opposition to Blackness and otherness. My grandfather came here from Belfast, the youngest of 5 boys, and built a life in Brooklyn. I think of poetry as a great place to think through and work out these complexities.
Abby Ashola for Urban U.
Last week, my girlfriend said to me, "You never told me you lived across from Malcolm's house." And I said to her, "I thought you already knew."
One of the cool things CUNY does is it has a CUNY Hero distinction, which it gives out for acts of bravery or service to others or generosity. One of those CUNY heroes is Nikita Harris, and you're about to see why.
The doctors told my mom the most I would live is 3 days. They told my mother that I wouldn't be able to walk, to talk, or to write. I'm gonna be 26 this year.
Despite seeing many medical experts from around the world, Nikita was never able to get a clear diagnosis.
I have brittle bones, so sometimes I would get an ear fracture. Sometimes I could just stumble, and not knowing that I fractured myself.
But her parents taught her to be strong and to never limit herself.
My dad always said use my brain as my heights. They weren't ashamed of me, so that's what pushed me, and they involved me in anything. I did ballet, soccer. They made sure that I went to the right schools. They advocated for me on my behalf. They look out for me.
And in turn, Nikita knew from a young age she wanted to look out for others. When she was 6 years old, she stood up for one of her friends who was being bullied at school.
They were making fun of one of my best friends. So I told my speech therapist about it in school. So they called a meeting and so forth. So my mom thought it was something with me. So when they called her in, they said, no, Nikki is advocating on behalf of a student.
Nikita is in school from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. most days, getting her master's in social work and interning in the veterans office.
I talk to the veterans on a one-on-one basis. I make sure that they get their financial benefits. Sometimes it's, personal things. And I can relate because we're student to student. So we have the same, struggles. Encourage them like, I'm taking 5 classes. I know what it's like, but you can push through. You're almost there.
And outside of CUNY, Nikita and her younger sister are co-founders of the Harris Family Vision Foundation. This nonprofit organization provides health and educational services to people in Brooklyn, Haiti, and Jamaica, where the Harris family is originally from.
They're really happy with the books, and that takes another burden off of the parents to buy school supplies. And we do health fairs. We go around the island of Jamaica and we, give back to communities that are in need.
And how does Nikita feel about being honored with the CUNY Hero distinction?
I was like, wait, what? Then I was like, wow, you named, CUNY Hero. And I said, God really has this opportunity, granted me this opportunity. I'm proud to be a CUNY Hero.
Her hope is that the attention she has been getting will inspire others.
My friend, when she saw me on Channel 7, and she said, you know what, Nikki, you really inspired me to go back to school. And, despite what's happening, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to register for school. I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to finish. And I said, wow, that almost made me cry. Once you help one person, that person can help another person, and it transcends.
I'm Marieve Amy for Urban U.
By the way, March, of course, is Women's History Month. So just like our story about Nikita, we're going to have stories about plenty amazing, talented CUNY women of all walks of life and accomplishments. So be sure to check out our social media pages for that.
How New Yorkers talk is so interesting that a group of CUNY linguists got together to create an online database to study the New York accent. Donna Hanover has this story.
Okay, now, this show used to be hosted by my friend Paul Baldwin, but he developed Spilkus in his Genectigazoink.
How New Yorkers Talk has long been fertile material for actors and comedians like Mike Myers and Madonna in this classic Saturday Night Live sketch. And it is also of interest to researchers who study language. Cecilia Cutler is a professor of linguistics at the City University of New York Graduate Center and Lehman College.
Linda, don't talk to me. I'm having a bad hair day.
We hear 3 distinct patterns in Madonna's speech. We hear her doing the raised thought, as she said, talk. And then we hear her do the tensed A in bad. And then we hear her do arlessness in hair.
Professor Cutler teamed up with 3 other CUNY professors and one from the University of Pennsylvania, forming the New York City English Research Group. With funding from the National Science Foundation, they are creating the Corpus of New York City English.
The Corpus of New York City English is a large database of interviews with New Yorkers, and it's ultimately a tool for researchers to analyze language in New York City.
They sent more than 100 students out with voice recorders.
So we have over 100 undergraduate field workers who went out and interviewed people in their communities from the 5 boroughs and asked them lots of questions about what life was like for them when they grew up in New York City and what kind of schools they went to and what kind of games they played, to get samples of authentic speech from New Yorkers.
Linguists spend a lot of time studying the way people say vowels, and they have a chart that shows English has 15 vowel sounds.
Instead of saying ooh or the u sound, you would say that's the goose vowel. Goose. If it's the O sound, it would be the goat vowel.
And then there are the ways people change those vowels in their dialects.
A lot of New Yorkers raise the vowel in coffee and in thought, so it sounds something more like coffee and thought.
What do you mean when you say raised?
When we say a vowel is raised, we mean that the tongue is higher in the mouth. So compared with the sort of normative mainstream pronunciation, someone who has a raised thought vowel wouldn't say thought. They'd say something like thought. Another typical pattern that you'll hear is the tendency to drop the R when it follows a vowel. So in a word like park or car, you'll hear some New Yorkers say something like park and caw, and that we call R-lessness.
No doubt the corpus will also be helpful to actors, though some, like Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei in My Cousin Vinny, are already ahead of the game.
Can you answer the question?
No, it is a trick question.
Why is it a trick question?
Watch this.
Because Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
She has the raised thought vowel, and she has a tendency to stop her, what we call stopping of the interdental fricative. So that's the TH sound in 30, so it tends to sound more like a T. So those kinds of expressions are maybe not as widespread as we think they are, but they're certainly iconically associated with New York City.
Our language reflects the many immigrant groups who settled here. And we New Yorkers even make street signs to brag about some of our favorite words. Professor Cutler says New Yorkers do have a highly engaged conversational style.
It's very, very interesting to watch New Yorkers. They love to butt in. They love to jump into conversations. They're comfortable talking to strangers. They'll grab your arm and stop in the middle of the street to have a conversation or tell you a particular kind of stories. They're comfortable with overlap and interruption.
By the way, if you want to jump in about how you pronounce words and how New Yorkers talk, they'd love you to take their survey online.
The corpus is meant to be a tool for other linguists so they can compare other large cities like London or Toronto, where other corpora are being built currently, to what's going on in English.
So the goal of the New York City English Research Group is to create a 1 million word online database that is fully text searchable. So you'll be able to use the most modern of technologies to learn about one of the most basic things we do, talk to one another. And if you type in New York attitude, who knows what might come up. I'm Donna Hanover for Urban U.
The Metropolitan Museum of Art is known for its world-renowned collection of masterpieces from history's best-known artists. Every few years, the museum hosts an event that isn't open to the public, but has some CUNY connections. Andrew Falzone has more.
We don't let everybody into this, but I'd like to invite you in for a private view of the Staff Art Show at the Metropolitan Museum.
Exhibition design manager Dan Kershaw welcomed our CUNY-TV cameras, the first to ever visit the Staff Art Show at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. The pieces at this year's show come in all shapes and sizes, like a towering scroll or a miniature diorama. There's a throne fit for a king, but really meant for a museum security guard. There are plenty of paintings and a piece about protest, and then there's the man who makes it all come together.
I guess that the main reason is for the staff to show that they're more than just employees of a museum, that they are actually artists. It's open only to the staff and their guests, But gosh, we bring a lot of guests in here. It's pretty crowded sometimes.
The Staff Art Show has been running here at the Met since 1935. This year's menagerie includes over 400 artworks from 392 staff members. And a number of the employee artists on display can trace their roots back to CUNY. Kuo Su studied architecture at City College and went on to a career with the city's Department of Design and Construction. He's now a Met volunteer.
I've always loved art, and even though my career was in architecture, I always back in my mind I wanted to be a printmaker.
And so Kuo's contribution to the exhibit is called Dawn, 2 prints taken in the early morning hours that involve using old French techniques of bringing photos to life.
The one on the left is taken from Myanmar in Yangon City. And the one on the right is from Indonesia in the island of Java.
The printing process is so old that Kuo uses a printing plate on a special Japanese paper, which results in an image reminiscent of a dot matrix style printer. Each copy of the image is produced from this copper plate that Kuo shared with us, but unlike a photo on your smartphone, this process takes longer than point, shoot, share.
It takes about a day and a half per plate, and then half a day for printing.
This abstract piece is the work of Michael Dominic, a senior infrastructure manager at the Met. While the piece may require deep thought to interpret, the creation process is about as blue-collar as it gets.
It's called a JC number 4. It was made in Jersey City. I had an exhibition, and at the opening reception for the exhibit, I had an iron pour where I actually made molten iron paintings right on the street out in front of the gallery.
And the process is just as spectacular as the finished product.
I apply oil paint, and when the molten iron hits the oil paint, it's so hot that it actually slides right across it. And the linseed oil in the oil paint flames up. And that's what gives me these beautiful gray tones here.
And while abstract work may have a bad rap for being too esoteric, Mike disagrees.
One of the beauties about abstract art is that you don't necessarily need to have a graduate education to appreciate it. If you can appreciate a sunset, you can appreciate an abstract painting. I want the viewer to look at this and just consider that, oh my God, this is burnt paper. I never would think that burnt paper could be so beautiful, that burnt paper could be presented in such a way like this.
And it was at Hunter College where Mike learned to hone his craft.
I was in the sculpture program there. One of the reasons I chose Hunter was they had a very active study abroad program. And that semester abroad that I did, of course, take advantage of was the best semester of my life.
Andrea Lujan works in retail sales at the Met. Her piece is a collage rooted in her indigenous Mexican heritage.
My piece is inspired by my experience growing up on the border in El Paso, Texas. I was raised there, and I grew up hearing the legends and lore of La Llorona, this iconic, mythic phantom figure who forever wanders the Rio Grande and any other riverbeds or valleys in search of her 2 children.
It's a cultural folktale to help keep children obedient.
The families warn the children that if you're out past, sundown, La Llorona could come for you. And it's safer to come back home before that happens.
Also a CUNY alum, Andrea received a master's in interdisciplinary studies of the Americas, and her coursework was directly linked to her artwork.
It was accessible to me for transit options, but also because of the financial accessibility of it. And again, tailoring the curriculum to meet my needs.
In order to exhibit at the Staff Art Show, you do need to be a staff member here at the Met, but if you don't see yourself making a career change anytime soon, it could be the perfect opportunity for you to become a Met volunteer. And then your art could be on display at one of the world's most renowned art institutions. I'm Andrew Falzone for Urban U on CUNY-TV.
That's our show for today.
For more information on any of these stories, you can check out our website at tv.cuny.edu or check out our social media pages.
Before we go, our campus creative.
Today we are sharing the music video of Egyptian-American rapper from Cairo, Feluca, who studies creative writing at Hunter College. The song is called Miss Move. Feluca described it as a tribute to any woman who is seeking security in self and style.
And we will see you next month.
Bye.
Smooth is my middle name. You've been acting strange. Why I level it and keep my cool the same. Need a new game for myself, still you playing like the rest. I can't teach you or your new friend. Not your new friend, not your new friend, not your new friend, no. It's like I'm in my jumpsuit, caught the 6, running out of time to make your mind move. Make your soul drip, skip quick, flip the script, bitch, I'm over it. Older than this, beholding finesse. I'm finding this impossible, deplorable. The people that's ignoring all the funk in its true essence. I'm not here to preach a lesson, but I'm guessing that you're questioning the methods of the blessings. Call it verse, call it blossoming. I'm in my bag, not talking shit. And I'ma go and get mine, yeah. Go and get mine, baby. Find the right time, flex the muscle of the mind. Y'all know what I heard, y'all. Smooth is my middle name. You've been acting strange. Why I level it and keep my cool the same. Need a new game for myself, still you're playing like the rest. I can't teach you or your new friend. Not your new friend, not your new friend, not your new friend, no. I know how it looks, like I'm in my Calvins when I'm snapping this new hook. I wrote a book under cohidity, cause mentally I've been involved with literary harmony, and it's alarming to me. Don't play pretend. The last time you sat alone to write or make amends with former versions of yourself, acid ego death, ain't felt your best in a minute, and it's fine.